Imagine being 20 years old. Just finish your second year of college. You still dream of becoming a doctor. You still believe your parents love you more than anything. Then one evening they sit you down at the dining table. Your mother is crying. Your father won't look at you. Your elder brother is staring at the floor. Your father speaks first, voice low, heavy. Beta, we are ruined. We took loans for your brother's business. He lost everything. Now the moneylenders are threatening to take the house, and worse. Your mother sobs. They said if we don't pay by next month, they will come for us. You feel your heart drop. Then your father says the words that change your entire life. There is one way to save the family. A very rich man. He has agreed to pay off all our debts. Everything. But in return, he wants to marry you. You freeze. How old is he? You whisper. Your father looks away. 72. The room spins. You feel sick. You look at your mother, hoping she'll say no, scream, stop this madness. But she just keeps crying. Your brother finally speaks. Do it for us, Dee. If you don't, we'll lose everything. We'll be on the street. Please. They didn't ask. They told. And 3 weeks later, you were standing in a red lehenga, gold jewelry weighing you down, marrying a man old enough to be your grandfather. But this story doesn't end there, because what they didn't know, what no one knew, was that I had already decided I would survive this, and one day they would pay a much higher price than any debt. My name is Anjali Sharma. This is the story of how my own family sold me to save themselves, and how I turned their betrayal into my freedom. If you've ever been forced to carry your family's mistakes, if you've ever been sacrificed so others could live comfortably, stay with me, because this isn't just a story of pain. It's a story of how one girl took back her life and made everyone regret ever underestimating her. Let's go back to that night at the dining table. I still remember the smell of burnt dal on the stove, the fan making that same annoying click it always did, my mother's bangles jingling as she wiped tears. My father spoke again. The man's name is Mr. Devinder Mehra. He owns 3 textile factories. Very respected family. He saw your photo. He liked you. I felt bile rise in my throat. He's 72, I said again, hoping someone would hear how wrong it sounded. My mother whispered, he's healthy, and he promised he won't trouble you much. Just be his wife in name. Give him respect. That's all. I looked at my brother, Arjun, the one who had lost everything in a failed clothing export business. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I asked a question I already knew the answer to. If I say no, my father's voice cracked. Then the moneylenders will come. They already took the car. Next they'll take the house. Then they'll take us. My mother sobbed louder. Please, Beta, for your brother, for the family. I looked around the table. The people who were supposed to protect me, and I realized something very cold and very clear. They were not asking for a favor. They were giving me an order. I stood up. Anjali, I need time to think. My father, there is no time. The wedding is in 3 weeks. I walked to my room, locked the door, and cried until I couldn't breathe. But somewhere in those tears, a small, hard seed of anger was born. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling and made one promise to myself. I will survive this, and one day they will wish they had never done this to me. The wedding was small, only close family and the groom's side. No big venue. No music. No joy. I wore red, heavy jewelry. My face covered with a dupatta. They said it was tradition. Mr. Devin Romero was thin, white-haired, kind-looking in a distant way. He spoke very little. When he put cinder on my forehead, his hand shook. I felt nothing. After the ceremony, they took me to his house, a huge old mansion on the outskirts of the city. Marble floors, big rooms, servants everywhere, but it felt like a cage. He never touched me, not once. He slept in a separate room. He told me gently, "I know this was not your choice. I won't force anything. Just stay here. Be my wife in name. That's all I need." I nodded, but inside I was already planning. I asked for one thing, permission to finish my studies. He agreed immediately. I enrolled in a distance learning program. I studied medicine. Secretly, late at night, I read books on law, on finance, on property. Every month, Mr. Mara transferred a large amount to my personal account. He said, "For your personal needs." I never spent it. I saved every rupee. 5 years passed, but not the way people imagine 5 years pass. Not with birthdays and celebrations. Not with laughter and family photos. My 5 years passed in silence, in discipline, in planning. By day, I was a quiet young wife in a large mansion, polite, respectful, invisible. By night, I became someone else, a student, a strategist, a woman rebuilding herself from scratch. The mansion had a huge library, thousands of books Mr. Mara had collected over the years. Business, law, medicine, finance, contracts, property law, taxation. At first, I read just to escape. Then I read to understand. Then I read to prepare. Every night, after the house slept, I studied until 2 a.m. Medical textbooks spread across the table. Notes everywhere. Coffee growing cold beside me. One night, the head servant, Kamla, caught me studying. She looked surprised. "Kamla, madam, why are you studying like this? You don't need to work. You are already rich." I smiled faintly. "Anjali, some people study to earn money. Some people study to earn freedom." From that night on, she brought me tea quietly without asking questions. Mr. Mara never disturbed me, but he noticed. One evening at dinner, he said, "You read like someone who is running towards something, not away from it." I looked up. "I am running toward a life that is mine." He nodded slowly, like he understood more than he showed. His kindness and my confusion. He never behaved like a husband, never demanded attention, never crossed boundaries. He treated me more like a protected guest. Sometimes that made it worse, because it removed the easy anger. If he'd been cruel, I could have hated him freely. But he was gentle, respectful, regretful. One night during a power outage, we sat on the veranda with candles lit. He said, quietly, "Do you hate me, Anjali?" I answered honestly. I hated the decision. I hated the deal. I hated what was done to me. But I do not hate you. He closed his eyes, relieved and pain at the same time. That is more mercy than I deserve. Year 3, I passed my major medical exams. Year 4, I completed my clinical requirements through a partner hospital program. No one from my family knew. They never called to ask how I was doing. They only called on festivals. And even then it felt formal. Once, my brother said casually, "Arjun, Didi, at least you are comfortable there." God was kind. I almost laughed. Comfortable? Yes. Free? No. But I didn't argue, because I was no longer trying to be understood. I was trying to be prepared. The illness. In the 5th year, Mr. Mara's health began to fail rapidly. More hospital visits. More medication. More fatigue. One afternoon, I found him struggling to breathe in his study. I called the doctor, stayed beside him. adjusted his oxygen mask, checked his pulse. He looked at me, surprised. Mr. Mehra, you would have been an excellent doctor. I answered softly, Anjali, I am one. He stared at me, then smiled weakly. Mr. Mehra, I see. So you didn't waste your years here. Good. That night, he asked for his lawyer, and everything changed. After the funeral, the house became very quiet. Too quiet. No footsteps. No coughing from the hallway. No slow walking stick tapping on marble floors. Just silence and paperwork. Lawyers, executives, accountants, board members. They all came, expecting control. Instead, they found me at the head of the table, prepared, informed, unmovable. When the will was read, his nephews protested loudly. Nephew, this is manipulation. She trapped him. The lawyer calmly placed medical records, signatures, video confirmations. Everything was legal. Everything was documented. Everything was final. I didn't say a word, because power doesn't argue. It signs. I did not call my family. Not once. I wanted to see something. Would they call to ask about me? Or only when they needed money? I got my answer after 1 year. The phone rang. Arjun. His voice desperate. Arjun. Didi, we're in trouble again. Of course you are, I thought. Same pattern. Different year. Same mistake. Different debt. He explained the loans. The threats. The urgency. Then he said the sentence I had been waiting to hear. Can you ask your husband for help? I looked around a massive office that now belonged to me. Anjali. Yes. Come to Mumbai. All of you. They arrived wearing their best clothes. Try to look dignified. Trying to look hopeful. But desperation has a smell. You can't hide it. When they entered the mansion, they froze. My mother whispered, Beta, you live here? Anjali. Yes, I do. They looked at the paintings, the chandeliers, the marble staircase, the staff greeting me as Madam Chairperson. For the first time in their lives, they saw me as powerful, not useful, powerful. We sat at a long dining table, the same kind of table where my life had once been decided without my consent. I let the silence stretch. People confess more in silence. Then I spoke slowly, calmly, precisely. I made them walk back through that night. Every sentence, every tear, every pressure. No shouting, no drama, just truth. Truth is heavier when spoken quietly. My mother cried. My father shook. My brother couldn't look at me. Then I showed them the documents, ownership, assets, authority, control. Their expressions changed from guilt to shock to calculation. That's when I knew they hadn't changed. Only their situation had. When I offered the check, my brother reached fast. Too fast. Like before. Like always. Take first. Think later. I pulled it back. Eye contact. Steady voice. Anjali, this is not rescue. This is closure. I made them agree verbally, clearly, completely. No future demands. No emotional blackmail. No family pressure. No returning to collect more. They agreed, because people drowning don't negotiate with the boat. After they left, when the door closed, I didn't cry. I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel revenge. I felt something better. Balance. The debt was paid, not with money, with truth, with boundaries, with independence. I walked to the mirror. For the first time, I didn't see a victim. I saw a woman who survived the deal, rewrote the outcome, and owned the ending.